Hello and welcome to another wonderful day at the agency. I'm here today with Yuki.
Hi.
Did I cut you too soon?
No, you're good.
All right. And we're going to be going over all of the new anime that have come out on this. Honestly, kind of a 30 new shows. And I was going to say they feel light. But then there's also just the mess of all of the freaking sequels, which we will not be talking about on this stream. Aptly named.
Well, I think they might only feel light just by sheer comparison to the crazy number of titles we saw in like the last two seasons.
What? Just the last year, Jesus Christ. That was a nutty 2023 was a nutty year for anime. Which we don't ever seem to stop saying. Go on, Japan. It's like you don't have to have 90% of all animation in the world. Let's face it, American cartoons are they're trying. They're trying. Has-Been Hotel is doing work at the moment.
Yeah, it can't really carry the entire US animation market though.
YouTube's trying. But no,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about all of the crazy new anime coming out this I want to say spring, but no, it's the winter season for 2024.
Yeah, that always throws me off, even as a longtime anime fan.
Yeah, or they are technically following the seasons. Winter did not start until end of December. So it is the most accurate. It's just not what we think. But a quick rundown of the list we have going on here. I think everything's going to be divided up into 7 categories. The coveted must-watch. These are going to be great shows that have a big pedigree behind them, either great studios, great writers, or they have a manga or, I guess, webtoon at this point with some of these, or are just going to be knocking out of the park. Under that, we have the 1, 2, and 3 episode rules. These, not so much a show of quality, but just how much of the series you need to watch before you have a good idea what it's about. 3 episodes are more slow burny. 2 episodes are, generally it feels like episode 1 kind of throws you off. Episode 2 sets you in the world. What episoders? It's what it is on the cover. It's like this doesn't get any deeper. If you liked episode 1, you'll like the rest of it. If I need to explain Skip, well, stay tuned because I'll explain a lot of weird and stupid things throughout the day. But these are just no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Just if this is absolute, we have a trash tier for a reason, and I would say Skip should have been lower than the trash. Skip is the Skip for all intents and purposes. Our trash is, well, if you've been a long time anime fan, I probably don't have to explain trash to you, but trash is the good old McDonald's run of anime. This is it's 3 a.m. I want a Whopper. 4 a.m. I want some KFC.
Getting that Whopper from McDonald's.
Yeah, why not? Why the heck not? That's I feel like that's kind of the crowd that's going to McDonald's at 3 a.m. nowadays.
That's fair. Yeah, so one note on trash is that stuff that's trash may still have redeeming qualities, it may even still be entertaining, but we know that it is objectively not a great show. The value may come from perhaps the hate watch enjoyment of it, or qualities that are not necessarily things that are objectively great, and yet it still manages to be entertaining on some level.
This is up here because this has become a category that either through sheer numbers or a stark raving madness, or they really do grow stronger stuff in Japan, has become a very popular trend among anime viewers. And at the very bottom, we have the coveted and well-loathed and loved not hentai.
I just want to point out, I was not briefed on this category being present. I had no prior knowledge that this was actually going to be a category, but it does amuse me, and there is certainly a niche for this category in the season.
There's a couple runners out there I could argue for. I'm not sure if they'll all make it out there, but man, this was a thirsty season. I'll give it that much.
We could probably also call that I can't believe it's not hentai.
I really was debating it, but I wanted something a little less wordy, I would say.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, just because there's I feel like this is a category that needs to be set apart. Like there are a few the few that that are going to be on this category.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like we should have put those next to the one episoders, because that's what they are. It's you either have turned this on by accident or have turned this on intentionally, and we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah. All right.
Need a whip cracking sound effect. Okay, but as we go through these, we are going to play you the opening trailer, and let's see here. Can this? Nope, not Buddy 2. I wanted this. There we go. Now, why don't you play us our first one, Yuki?
Sure. So we'll be starting right off with Mr. Villain's Day Off.
私は悪の組織の幹部である。しかし今日は休日。
そこの方、悪の組織の方ですよね。このレンジャー暁レッドが相手に。
今日のところは休戦としようじゃねえか。
駅にはどうやって行けば。
泣いてんのはそいつらじゃなくて俺なんだけど。
もういいや。本当は魔法少女になりたかった。おじちゃん、あれ食べたいです。案外悪い人じゃなかった。敵にもいろいろいるんですね。
なんだ、まだ腹減ってるのか。よかったらこれどうぞ。
やっと出てくれ。
やかましい。
もちろん覚えてるさ、将軍。将軍、よく来てくれたね。
お前と仲良く私服でお散歩なんてついてねえ。
今日はレンジャーたちとも決して争いはしない。そう、なぜなら今日は休日なのだから。
All right, that's honestly, I watched. I've this is probably going to be on my series that I just would casually watch on my own after giving it a try.
Yeah.
It's oddly relaxing.
Well, yeah, I think it has a little bit of that healing anime aspect to it.
It's definitely in its DNA.
Yeah. But you also see it kind of following this growing trend of anime that kind of buck against the overwork of everyday life, and also a healthy dose of the villain role reversal kind of subgenre that we've been seeing lately.
I don't know if I would say this is villain role reversal or we're gonna do something weird with Sentai again.
Well, not necessarily role reversal, but subversion, maybe?
Yeah, you're following the villain. We've seen these a couple, especially in the isekai genre, a little bit more often lately.
Yeah, but we have seen some Sentai-related ones as well, too, where, we had that dating anime a couple seasons back, where, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but as for Mr. Villain's Day Off, normally healing anime is right outside of my comfort zone. I can't tell if it's because there's a little bit of the Sentai stuff. If it's because we're following the villain, I'm always a sucker for the bad guy side of the story. But this one like seriously grabbed me. It might also be that the main character is obnoxiously like our fellow streamer Kigu. It feels like. I see him and I hear Kigu. I can't tell you why.
Totally fair. Yeah, so I definitely thought this one was decent. I wouldn't necessarily call it a must-watch. This is probably, to me, a one-ep, where if you try an episode of this, you probably know what you're in for. And if you like what you saw, then you're gonna enjoy it.
Yep, I'm totally agree with you on there. This doesn't evolve. This doesn't change. This is very much you get what the cover tells you you're going to get. But once again, that isn't a bad thing. This is you can tell right away, oh, this is this is what this is. You will know one episode in whether you like this or do not.
Yep, tentative score probably around at least a solid 7 out of 10.
I might kick that a little higher, but once again, this is the start. This is why we don't do a direct ranking. But once again, I highly recommend. Maybe we'll add extra tiers some other time. But yep, one episode try on the Mr. Villain's Day Off. All right, Yuki, what do we have on the next list here?
Great. Next up, we have Meiji Gekking, 1874.
もはやこれまでだな。シロも俺も。
先にあの世で待ってろ。敵を4、5人道連れに。俺もすぐ行く。
ダメだ。お前は生きろ。生きて、住江を守るんだ。
I was starting to wonder if that was the actual trailer.
It does in fact say official trailer, so I think we're okay.
これは我らにとって最初にして最大の試練である。
けじめ取らせていただきます。
日本政府の動きはどうか。
でしたらその強運、今一度正義のためにお使いになってはいかがでしょう。
おけろ天生。どうやら遠山一家の連中が事実と違う話を吹聴しているようだな。
血の雨を降らすしか。
政府は臆病者の集まりだとそしりを受けること。
会津の鬼殺しを放っておくわけにはいかんからな。
そうやっているのを見ると完璧に欧州人だな、ミスクロ。
俺のドス止めたのはあんたが初めてだぜ。
折笠沈め、役を降りることはできない。
みんな死ねばいい。
落とし前をつけて
まさか生きていたとは。自分を偽ることはできん。
その一件任しちゃもらえませんか。
狩りをするぞ。獲物を調達しろ。
なぜこんなことを。
決まっている。楽しいからさ。
一家のために体張るのは当然の地。
二度は外さない。
俺たちだけにやるか。くれぐれも秘密裏に行った。今度はあんたが狩られる番。はず。
And they meant full trailer.
Most of these are around the 2-minute mark. So. That's surprising. I'll let you take the lead on this one, because, to be honest, this one kind of flew under my radar. I seem to have somehow missed it and didn't catch any episodes of this one. Plus, Japanese historical drama genre doesn't usually catch me too hard.
This one's a bit interesting because it's this is a anime taking place right after Japan has had it. What was the Ginshi War? The war that basically, hey, Japan has to start trading. U.S. rolled up, blasted the shit out of them with some big cannons, and we're 100 years behind in technology. Shit.
Yeah, so this
kind
would
of
be
moments.
leading into the Meiji Restoration, I believe.
Yep, this is just as the Shogun and the Emperor have had their mini civil war. The Emperor has come out on top. And what we are doing is, in the show, is following a defeated samurai who was part of that shogun imperialism, ironically trying to modernize with Western technology, that was defeated by the traditional emperor. And kind of living in that society. Our main character is trying to find his fiance who went missing during the Civil War, and through several problems, it ends up joining their police force to help maintain order. Now helping to protect the system he once tried to tear down.
I believe this would be the period where the police were not allowed to have swords as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, they do try to stay historically accurate on that, and all the police do just have, I think they're joking about like beat sticks, giant wooden clubs, basically, like not clubs, but not swords either. This is just a big wooden pole.
Yeah, it may have been slightly further down the road too, but I think at some point they started carrying like sword breakers.
Not quite there. This is right after that. The one thing I will say from I believe there's only 2 episodes out currently. The one thing I will definitely say for this show is it has just for the first couple of, it has a weird political draw. It feels pro-police and pro-Yakuza while being anti-military.
What a weird combination, yeah.
Which, I hope this is not, saying anything about current Japan, but, well, it's an interesting fact, because the military was very much, the first time, not the samurai class in its entirety. There were the farm boy soldiers, as they try to say it. And they do come off very brash, you can't do anything to me, I'm a soldier. Which, to the point where they eat, a couple of your guys create a drunk ruckus, and the police arrest them, and then the rest of their squad go into the police station and bust them out.
Yeah, so this one being one of the later editions might also be part of why I kind of missed it and it flew under my radar.
Yep, I understand on that one. This is also part of a weird trend I noticed this season. A lot of the anime we have this year, and this particular part, feel like early 2000s late night Adult Swim shows. This is the edgier, bloodier, darker show that just has a slower burn.
I feel like this one definitely has some Rurouni Kenshin DNA to it as well.
Oh, exceptionally. It's I could feel that. I was trying not to say it just because I might be a little biased, but it's if you're pointing that out, yes.
I mean, we even saw the one guy turn his sword around, so...
Yeah. For this one, this is a slower burn. There's only 2 episodes out. Might be 3 at this point, but I'm pretty sure 2. I would say this is a 2-episoder. Episode 1 only kind of introduces you to the world. It doesn't let the plot get going. I would stick around for at least that long. If it changes further on, that's going to be a little bit on them at that point.
All
right. Third on the lineup here.
Next up, we have 7th Time Loop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy. One of the increasing number of villainous shows that all blend together for me.
And there was quite a few this season. Although, to be fair, most of them had an interesting twist.
はい、わかりました。失礼いたします。
は？おい！
やり直しの人生もこれで7回目なんだもの。今回はのんびりだらだら人生を満喫したい。今度こそ長生きしてみせる。皇帝アルナルド・ハイ！
願わくはどうか俺の妻になってほしい。
this one is another one that I didn't see any of. As I said, these kind of all blend together for me, to the point where I literally can't tell them apart sometimes. Like, I didn't even realize that this was a different one that wasn't part of a previous season.
No arguments on that one. This is a there are 3 villainess shows of this season. Honestly, I think there's more villainess than standard isekai this season.
I think I skipped all 3 of them.
Why does it feel that feel weird? It's because it's like I weirdly enough, I've loved all the villain. Like I said, I've said so many times before, romance is something I generally don't care for. This one, thank you for the stretch, Tito.
Those redeems.
Yep, I forgot those. I need to fix the sound on those sometime too. But this one is very interesting because, like that plot synopsis of a title says, this is this character's 7th time being reincarnated. This is re-villainess.
Re-villainess.
Yeah. The weird difference is she's led full life. So this is somebody who's, been a merchant, been a doctor. Just, I've had time to go over my life over and over and over.
That's not even the only show like that this season, too.
Which I think that's also another villainess show, weirdly enough.
Well, there could be another villainous one as well, but I was thinking of a different one that, well, we'll get to it later.
Yep. But so far this one, okay, this sounds weird once again, but it's the romance that kind of hooks me, because this is the kind of the point. It's, her previous 6 lives, every time she's been killed has been a direct result of this prince who's now proposed to her. So it's kind of like, you know what? Let's stick close to the guy who's caused my death 6 times over at this point. What do I have to lose?
7th death, I suppose.
You get another one afterwards, but...
Well, she's probably got, 9 lives?
Don't project too much on there, but... it's a very... I don't have a good way to just, because once again, I kind of hate these. This is a light novel. You can just tell by the goddamn name. This is a light novel with its summary on its title,
based off of an otome genre.
Oh yeah, and it has that otome look. It has that. If you like the villainess, if you like the romance side of that, it's done well. It's also, they don't just shove you in, these two actually I would say I'm full 3 episodes in on this one, and the chemistry building between the main leads is a slow burn. This is just oh wow, I like you, but I'm going to keep you at arm's length for a bit. I would say this one is a 2-episode one, just because episode 1 kind of establishes what the characters are. And where did I put? There it is. Just because episode 1 is the backstory of what's going on, episode 2 is the raw story kicking in. Tino, you think it's a 5 out of 10? I can see that. I can totally see that.
Animation probably puts it a little bit above a 5 from what I saw in the trailer there, but
it is well done. It's that, yeah, I could definitely see 5, but especially depending on your taste on this one. It might just also be the isekai trash goblet inside of me that's like, oh, reincarnated story. Yeah, I can get behind this.
For me, at least, usually anything that's as low as a 5 is going into the skip or trash bin.
Yep, I can definitely see that. Oh, but that also did remind me. I have figured out a new way to how to judge Crunchyroll selections.
Oh?
So every Crunchyroll is out from a 1 to a 5 out of 10, correct? But everything sits around 4 point something. Just ignore the 4 and go off the point system. That's fairly accurate, I found.
Interesting. I can't say I really use the Crunchyroll's input there. Usually doesn't seem to be. I don't know. It just feels very biased.
Everything, I had never seen anything get below a 4.
Yeah.
I will admit that. That's why I'm saying the percentile there is the best part.
Yep.
4.8, it's pretty good. 4.3, hot garbage. Probably.
Alright. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Next up, we have Fluffy Paradise.
私残業続きでライフワークバランスガタガタの OL だったんだけど、過労死した直後に神様と出会って転生しちゃったの。オスペ公爵家の第3子にね。王様、ネフェルティマオシュです。3歳になりました。素敵な家族に囲まれる日々。
PD.
お返しにぎゅー。そう、私は何これ、サラサラのフワフワ。どんな動物とも仲良くなれるの。レアモフっぽいのきたー。いろいろと面倒なことにちょっと疲れた時は無理をしないで思いっきり癒されちゃおう。異世界でモフモフなでなでするために頑張ってます。究極のチルアニメ、この冬モフモフ開始。
Why did that feel like a Disney trailer?
Yeah, so this I would say is one of the more cheaply produced anime that we have this season. And don't expect amazing things from the story either. However, the character designs do remain appealing. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Probably, though, you do know what you're getting into by the first episode on this one. So for me, this is somewhere between the, 1-ep and skip categories.
I would say this is in the 1-ep. I could almost go down with you on to the skip. But once again, there's nothing offensive about this. If you're just wanting to watch a cute, fluffy anime, this fills that role nicely. There isn't a lot of competition this season for that particular role.
Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate. I would put it in 1-ep because it's not, overtly terrible. And it's honestly, the overall quality this season hasn't been too bad. This is still better than probably half the shows that we had last season, production value wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's weird because I feel like a lot of the other productions be going into the new seasons or the next seasons of a lot of continuing shows, but nothing really bottomed out this season. Technically, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, there's maybe 1 or 2 shows, but the percentage-wise, we did a lot better this season. I feel like.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely you're not going to be in for a lot of surprises on this show. If you do give it a try, if it looks like it might be your thing, 1 episode will tell you if you're going to like it or not.
Yep, I will 110% agree on 1 episode on that one. Okay. Which sucks, because I feel like if this was a higher production, this probably would have been one of your top ones, wouldn't it?
It's
or
not...
you need a little bit more meat to the story.
I think I would need a little bit more meat to it as well, or at least it would have to stop trying to be meaty and then being unsatisfying anyway. Like, I would rather they just made it be a veggie bowl than try to fill it with cheap, bad meat.
No, understandable on that one. All right, then. Another mid.
All right. Next up we have the strongest tanks labyrinth raids.
And the mid rolls continue.
Yeah?
俺はいつも通りみんなの盾となる。お前たちは絶対に勝つ。引き返すわけにはいかない。マディシアを助けたい。
みんなが戦えていたのはあんたがいたからよ。私名前がないんです。クビになった日以来ね、ルーダ。双子の妹のリリーです。もう心配しすぎですよ。
ほう、これはなかなか。ようこそ我が迷宮へ。
なんじゃ、戻ってしまうのかい？
こんなところで終われない。
何こいつ。だけど私たちにはルードがいる。本当に兄さんは昔からずっと。
敵の攻撃は俺が全て引き受ける。生命変換。マニシア、かわいい。
アホで。
Okay, if that last scene didn't give it away, I want to be very clear that this is definitely one of the Syscon anime. So if that's not your thing, turn tail and run from this one.
Yeah, that's overt. On top of that, this doesn't even have the property to be an proper isekai. This is a mid-tier video game fantasy.
That isn't an isekai for some bizarre reason.
Where the main character is already building a harem somehow.
Yeah.
By episode 2?
But really episode 1, because there's already, like, a love interest established in episode 1, even if it's a little more vague.
Right. The not slave girl.
No, not even her. There's also the saint.
Oh, right. Yep, nope. Yeah, this is... Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the isekai trash goblin in me likes this show. This is trash.
Yeah, I would say this is one
trash.
of the most solidly trash anime that we have this season.
This is trash. I'm not going to even defend. Like, this is here because I like to watch this, and I know exactly.
Now that said, it's not really the hottest trash. It's more of lukewarm trash. So if you're after spicy trash, this might not really be your deal.
This is almost in the skip. Luckily, it doesn't have a lot of competition this season, and after we sort some more of these out, that might move. This is the tentative trash at this point.
Yeah, I would say it's not going into the skip bin mostly because it's more middling. Like, that's its biggest crime, in a sense, than it is overtly bad.
It is the...
Well, biggest crime if you can forgive the Syscon thing.
I'm a degenerate to the point where if you hadn't mentioned anything, I might have forgotten that was a plot point.
It's actually kind of the plot point in a sense.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, tell me we got something good on the next lineup here.
Let's find out. Next up we have Tales of Wedding Rings. So...
God damn it! Well, I front-loaded the bid.
You sure did.
Ugh. I was hoping that was it.
Well, we could always stop it early, but... Also, interesting choice that they didn't include a single voice line in the trailer.
There's probably a good reason for that.
Alright, so... This one might be tempted to assume is trash. Perhaps even hot trash. But, as it turns out, I think this one really falls pretty solidly into not hentai. Because this is one of a handful of completely uncensored shows that we have this season.
I
That
would
said-
almost push it there if there was. Okay, to be fair, I'm on episode 3 of this, and there's been some bare boobs. That's about it. And I think small cuts. All right, this show also starts a trend that I really felt was coming out from this season. This is that early 2000s anime feel. Like this is.
I see where you're going with that, but it's more. It's not quite that. It's it's more of an early 2000s influence to it.
Yeah. Well, it just is. It wants to be a little bit bloodier. It wants to show a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out a good non-YouTube
It
censor
has
word.
that old anime OVA DNA to it.
Yes, it's that feel to it. It's like, oh, here's some flashes, here's some naked hot spring scene. It's okay.
Or the world before they enacted the new censorship laws that forced the rays of light and steam on everything.
Lightsaber dick. Gotta love it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I sure do. The Schwartz is strong with this one.
Okay.
I will say that of the I can't believe it's not hentai this season, this is easily the lowest quality and trashiest of them.
Yep. Oh, is this? Jory, you said you've read the manga for this one, and it's interesting. I can see that. They actually did set up some interesting world building in their second episode, but man, this right out the gates, this was a nothing burger with some tits.
Yeah, I can't really imagine anyone watching this for the plot. Only the quote-unquote plot.
Which there isn't. Which, man, if it's going for that, oh, you didn't mean that in a good way. Okay, yeah. As much as this deserves at least not hentai, I almost want to throw this right in the skip. We've gone over. I'm a degenerate.
Yeah.
I felt wanting. This is an isekai too. Like, this is all of my target stuff, and I just could not. You know what the seasons are. I couldn't get it up for it.
I was actually able to stick with this one a little bit better than I was some of the other shows this season. So from my perspective, I wouldn't say this one is skip, but if you are going to skip one of the I can't believe it's not hentai, this should be the one.
All right, I'll throw it in there. Just it's your tits push you in. You've got a nice rack. Ready wings. By the way, this if I did it, the rating wasn't set, this is an MA stream.
Yes, a reminder, my collabs are always considered mature by default, because I never know what my collaborators are going to say or do.
Especially true on this one. Alright, what's our next one we got here?
We have a sign of affection.
音もなく降ってくるのかな。
Oh, okay.
私の世界に何の脈絡もなく現れたこの感情のやませ方なんて私は知りたくない。
じゃあな。
指先と連連。
That was a sweetly short one.
So, just a quick synopsis, non-spoiler. The main character of this show is Death, and a lot of the show revolves around characters trying to, communicate with her, learning sign language, the kind of communication barriers that come from that sort of thing, including little things that are, kind of unique to that experience, like making sure that you don't sneak up on somebody because they can't hear your footsteps coming. But while this show definitely has a lot going for it, it has some very pretty animation. The couple nitpicks I have are I don't feel like the design of the male lead is very attractive. Which, maybe that's just a me thing, because I'm not really into the male leads anyway, but this time around, they seem... well, I'll say they're at least unique and stand out in the crowd. The other thing is...
It's part of the chunky character designs we were getting this season.
Yeah. The other thing that I would nitpick about it is just it is very slow. If you have a hard time with anime that have a very slow pacing to them, perhaps to an unnecessary degree, then this one might frustrate you.
Yep, I slice of life, modern day romance. I had to force myself to watch the first episode of this one, and then I skipped through episode 2, and I was done.
Yeah, I would say this is probably a one-ep show. It's definitely not bad. Obviously, it doesn't fall into Agent's strike zone here at all. But if you give this the one-episode treatment, you'll know what you're getting into.
Okay, there it is. Yep, definitely in the one. The first one of our bigger logos. And of course, I had the hard time finding this one, but yeah, this just does not. If you watch it, like we said, if you try episode 1, this is up your alley. It still sounds mid, honestly. Everyone in chat seems to agree mid, so I could not judge this one either way, but yeah, this is about what I felt on it.
Yeah, I think probably this will have the strongest appeal to people who have had to deal with some kind of disability. Otherwise, if you can't relate to that experience, if you don't have anyone in your life who can relate to that experience, you're probably not going to see a ton of value in this one.
Yeah. The best thing it really has going for it is the fact that it is addressing this kind of issue, which especially in Japan is a bigger thing. It's just this isn't early. This is a early try at this. This isn't somebody who is well done, like well trained. I don't know if this is based off a manga, or I should say it's not bad. It's just this feels like somebody who doesn't have the full skill set to dig into all the nuance in the of this kind of condition.
I agree it's a little more surface level, especially because we have seen this issue be tackled before in anime. It was a movie, though, A Silent Voice. And I feel like that one, if you're going to watch something based off of, you know, the kind of disability aspect of this and those struggles, I feel like that movie does a much better job of capturing that and will also be much better paced.
Yep. And thank you for the hydrate, Tito.
All right.
God, do I have any of the good shows lined up, or is that all the back half?
I think it's mostly in the back half.
Oh, dear God.
Here we go. Next up, we have Bakugiri.
Bakugiri!
Okay, I know nothing about this one, honestly. I did get a little interested when I saw that it was Studio Mappa, but besides that, like, I remember I added this one to my list and it just kind of disappeared into the list void.
Okay, so, remember how I said early 2000s anime repeatedly already?
Yeah.
You remember a little old anime called Tenshin Tango?
I do not.
This is part of the early 2000s boom about a bunch of kids in high school just beating the ever-living shit out of each other because Fight Club.
Yeah, it definitely had that kind of delinquent feel to it.
And the one thing I will say is I can't tell if it's my nostalgia for this, but this was something that's like, oh, I haven't seen this in a long time, and it's good to see it back again. That being said, a lot of the in-between fight scenes animation is lackluster, but on the other hand, the fight scenes are absolutely gorgeous, and they make two guys punching each other entertaining, which isn't too bad.
So they saved all the budget for the Sakuga with lip flaps.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. The one downside I will say to this is it's also the classic formula of the main character doesn't like fighting, doesn't want to fight, but has to learn to fight.
Ah, I see.
With some, I don't like to fight because, you know, as a little kid, I messed up this, or wasn't brave enough for this, or it wasn't something like this, but...
Alright, so it has a little bit of, like, History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi to it, or, maybe even a little bit of Karate Kid or something.
Yeah. Although, the fact that... okay, so if you're probably an American, you might get why this is funny. They always refer to themselves, I want to be a honky person.
I was assuming it was supposed to be pronounced Honkai, but yeah, yeah.
I want to be one of the honky people. It's just, I'm trying not to just laugh with this magical genie that's directing this kid from the bullet he shot himself in the head with.
Which, for those who don't know, perhaps if you're not a U.S. native or something like that, honky is actually considered, like, it's not particularly offensive, but it is technically a racist term.
Which race?
It is actually a term used for white people.
Yeah, well, I was gonna make more of a joke on like Deep South, but yeah, it's a very interesting. It takes place in Hawking City.
Wow. Okay.
This,
I am really wondering if this is one of those things where, like, something didn't translate well and they didn't realize how they were using the term, or if this was intentional and that was, all part of the inside joke or something.
it's definitely something. It's not an offensive term. It's kind of.
It is sometimes, like, okay, it is usually used with some level of derision, but it is not typically received as being offensive.
Yeah, it's almost. Weirdly enough, it is almost a prideful term, even.
Yeah, it's, okay. It's one of those things where, because it's being used by people who have been oppressed against the people who were doing the oppressing, it doesn't really have any bite to it.
Yeah, it's. If you listen to a lot of country music, you'll hear it a lot. Well, if you listen to like early 90s, 2000s country music, you'll hear it a lot. But as for. This is either a. I haven't seen this in a long time. I will say this is a solid one episode. You know what you're getting pretty much right on the cover. I would say the plot really doesn't kick in heavy till episode 2, but you don't need to know what the plot is of boys.
This is not a plot-based anime.
Okay, the one other joke I will give it, the battle cry that the main character has to scream out to fuse with the not genie that lives in the bullet in his head.
It has fusion? Okay.
Is, I want to lose my virginity.
Wow. Alright. So, okay, maybe it has a little bit of, like, Golden Boy. Oh, yeah, that's probably where I'm seeing that kind of, character style influence from.
There are 2 women in this show. One of them is his mother.
Oh, dear.
No, it's not. She honestly refers to him as Old Baba most of the time. So, the other one happens to be the little sister of the gang leader he's currently a part of, who's also a brother con. Yeah, there's a weird love triangle between the main character, his love interest, the brother of the love interest, and the brother of the love interest loves the main character because when he is fused with the genie, he hits like a truck.
Romance.
Like it's ridiculous enough. I almost want to put it in the trash for how utterly stupid fun it is.
Well, I will trust your judgment on the matter either way, since I haven't watched
Had a chance on that one. Yep, there really isn't a any kind of competition for the category this is in. Honestly, if you want to put it closest to anything. Not as good, but Jodo Diamond is Unbreakable. For how crazy stuff gets. But, nope, I was happy with that one. Alright.
Okay, well, next up, we have Solo Leveling.
Ooh. Another short and sweet one.
Yeah, this one I am caught up on, and so far I'm still of the opinion that this one feels overhyped to me. It's not that it's a bad show; it has decent production values and everything, but either there's something that I don't know about yet that is causing people to be really excited about this. I know for sure a lot of people are very excited about it because of the manga. So maybe we're just not far enough in for me to have experienced whatever it is that makes this one, so special to people. But so far to me, this one has been just kind of a slightly above average isekai-ish series.
Yeah. I won't argue that, especially after watching it from where it's at currently. I read the manhwa as it had been a lot further, so I was able to just burn through at this point.
Gotcha.
But one of the appeals to this show is its slow burn nature. It is a power fantasy, but it's a power fantasy that takes its time, that builds its world, that sets up its character for what they need to do.
Yeah, I will say this one you do need at least 2 or 3 episodes to really get the plot going too. You're like at the surface level, you're gonna get a decent amount out of in episode 1, but when it comes to like understanding the world building and what you're getting into there, it doesn't really reveal itself until about episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. Honestly, I have read the complete manhwa run on this one. I would say this is a much watch just because this is going to be something that is, if the numbers don't do god awful, which the amount of hype is going on, they're not going to. We're going to get a season 2. We're going to probably get a season 3, and from that point forward, it's really going to take off. If you've watched the opening on this one, you've seen the big duel with the Red Knight. I'm guessing that's where they're going to end season 1. And it's right after that point, I say we start getting our first high notes. That fight itself is the first high note. And from there, it continues to hit those time and time again.
So the problem that presents to me is people having to watch an entire first season of the show before it starts to get to its appeal point is a pretty tough ask. Like these days, usually if you're not front-loading a strong attention grabber in the first episode, you're probably losing your audience. But it is a testament, I think, to the potential it has that we're seeing so many people so hyped about it from the manhwa. That said, if we were to judge this in a vacuum, I don't think it would probably go in the must-watch category. So, I have trouble justifying at this stage putting it in must-watch. But
I can kind of understand that. The problem is this show has the shonen problem. It's part of that. If you were to go back and watch the first 3 episodes of Black Clover, that would have been a fucking skip. And
it was. I never got past the first 3 episodes of Black Clover.
Yeah, and I won't argue against it, honestly. But it is a show that is still going strong and does have a decent following nowadays. That's... You're correct against that. I do have the bias with the manhwa, but I would say at least 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Give this 3, because I believe that's when the plot started kicking into the full. You got your world building, you got your setup, you know what is going to happen. If you're a fan of the manhwa, you know where this is going. You're gonna be here. Like, they're gonna have to drop the ball on the animation to make me not watch this.
Yeah, and that's fair too. Like it's I think good that we have both perspectives here. Me going in blind and you having the kind of outside knowledge. again, just like from where I sit, I wouldn't be able to justify it as a must-watch. It's, again, at best, slightly above average so far.
Yep. I understand that completely. But okay. I'm going to start talking about spoilers if I keep on that too long.
Yep,
What's
totally
up?
fair.
What's
Next
up next?
Sasaki and Peeps.
よそじを目前に控えて心が寂しい
Oh.
そう思ってペットショップに行ったけど行ってよかったどんな名前がいいだろうか
我が名はピエル・カルロ異界の都にして星の賢者
めっちゃ喋ったああいいねピーちゃんで不服なんだろうかちょっと顔が怖くなった気がする
よしならば契約は成立だ
ピーちゃん何これ
貴様に我の力の一部をくれてやる
これやば
Sudden magical girl transition scene.
生まれ変わるまで住んでいた世界
はい
ベイトリアムという町だ
なるほどいわゆる異世界ってやつだ
では行くぞあなたどこの異能力者
君は優秀だね佐々木くんこれはすごいですよ使い方いかんによっては我々の生活に大きな影響を与えかねない
ご無沙汰しております星の賢者様一生懸命頑張らせてもらいます
お嬢様皆様にご挨拶を
ごきげんようわしらの組織に興味はないかいじゃあねおじさんおかえりなさい
異世界でのスローライフもただいまだんだんと始まってきたように感じるなんて考えていたけど
佐々木とピーちゃん
Alright. This one so far to me has been relatively bargain bin isekai.
It's had some nice twists to it that you generally don't see. The fact that it's not a high school kid, but someone more in their middle-aged. I don't know his actual age. I hope it's not too old. They keep throwing 16-year-old girls at him like he should be in high school, so I'm a little worried about that.
He's definitely in at least his 30s or 40s.
Yep. From that aspect, it's very interesting to see. There are some great extra twists in this one, which I don't remember if they're in episode 2 or 3. But like this one, honestly, like I was expecting absolute boilerplate isekai, and it's thrown just enough twists at me and just enough strange turns that I'm honestly really enjoying it.
Yeah, I will definitely say, again, this is an example of where, like, even our kind of mid-range, middling anime this season are a step up in quality compared to what we were seeing for those types of shows the last, like, 2 or 3 seasons, where, the animation production and everything has kind of normalized back up to the quality level
Really?
that we would have...
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, expected previously. Where there's nothing, like, overtly bad about it, at least, right? Maybe you get a lot of static shots or something like that, but there's no, like, obvious deformities in the characters or, weird stuff like that. And, characters actually move. There's spell effects that aren't just, like, freeze frames.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's one of the other things I do love, Tito. It's the don't feed meat to was it lava birds? Somehow they work pet ownership into this anime a bit by bit.
Yeah. And it's I don't know. It's an alright series, right? It doesn't like super stand out. It's not it's definitely not like a must watch. I think you probably more or less know what you're getting by about episode 2. Episode 1's maybe a little slow.
Yeah, it's whenever the big the real world twist kicks in. I don't remember if that was 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It was kind of around the end of 2, start of 3 somewhere.
I want to say this one is a 3-episode anime just because it doesn't finish its world building until 3.
Yeah.
Like the final
maybe.
couple of hooks don't sink until then.
On the other hand, I think if you've watched all the way through the end of episode 2 and you're not feeling this anime, then it's probably not going to redeem itself for you in episode 3.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, though. You are correct. I'll give you that one.
All
We're
right.
picking a lot more of the 2 category than I thought we were, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. But
Next up, we have the Demon Prince of Momochi House.
oh, not Fruits Basket.
Yes. We have Fruits Basket at home. So, this is very much like reverse harem bishonen from what I gathered. I honestly couldn't really get past episode 1 on this, but I'm inclined to feel like this is probably a 1-episode series. Anyway, like, did you catch more of it?
I watched all of episode 1, then I had to skim past episode 2, and that's about as much as I could put forth effort wise. This is once again, this is I want to be Fruits Basket. Like, there's nothing in this genre. Let's stick something here and see what lands.
Yeah, I feel like that's a relatively decent assessment. Given that this isn't really my kind of show, I couldn't really stick with it. But if that's your type of show, then I think it's fine. I didn't feel like there was anything here. It was like, let's slap together Fruits Basket and Inuyasha and see if people like it.
And we're gonna chat's saying it's a skip, but you're my fan base. We know what we like here. But
yeah,
I do have to say there's nothing offensive about this. This feels like an episode 1.
Yeah. I think if this is your genre, you're going to like it. If it's not your genre, you're going to want to take a pass.
Yeah, just
next up.
Yeah, I can't. Yep, we know what it is. All right.
It's almost a 0 episode. Next up, we have the wrong way to use healing magic.
力を貸してはくれぬか勇者たちよ
僕はただ巻き込まれただけ伝えないと伝えない
とお前は私と一緒に戦場の最前線で負傷者の治療をしてもらうつまり前衛だ素
晴らしい筋肉だ私がピンチの時は助けてね
決めたウサトと先輩を守るために戦う
欲張りめ
あの人救命団の人
戦場で怪我人を救うために走るそんなこと僕にできるのか
夏の夜も
死ぬ気でやれ死んだら治す
ラブラケチケマヤコンだ
仲良くしようルリ
このネズッとやろ
大丈夫ですよあれがウサトの日常なんだと思います
どうしてこんなに体を鍛えるかわかるか
間もなく進軍を開始できます
覚えとけてめえの命も守ってこその救命団だ
僕は戦いません敵も殺しませんでも 僕にしか助けられない人みんなを助けます。僕は救命団ですから。
異世界から来た治癒魔法使いか。さてどうなるか。
Alright. So this show isn't really using concepts that we haven't seen elsewhere before. It's kind of like what if sensu beans, but healing magic.
Yes, Tito, as a main healer on in every MMO I do, this is right up my alley. You are correct.
What I will say is the word that immediately comes to mind for this series to me is competent. It's not crazy amazing, but it is reasonably well done. They knew what they were doing. They operated within the budget that they had, and it's pretty good. It's all right.
They introduced a competent story with which. Why are we getting a healing anime every season? By the way, I think it's like the last 3 have had one.
But you mean like an anime centered around a healer?
Yes.
As opposed to the healing anime genre.
Oh, sorry, I have to differentiate. God damn it, I have to differentiate those. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But once again, this is a competently done isekai with decent animation. I also want to say it's something I have always kind of wondered about why they've never taken off. You could heal your soreness, your muscles, all that, and you don't get any of the negative effects from auto heal. Why don't just hit the gym for 2 days straight and just get a month's workout in?
Yep, and we definitely saw pretty much the exact same thing last season. This one's probably a more, again, competent execution on it. But
definitely better animated.
Yeah, and a better sprinkling of humor. But again, nothing super groundbreaking or must have here.
Yep. As for episode count, Isekai happened fairly quickly in episode 1, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Episode 1 is probably enough to know what you're getting into more or less, but if you went another episode or 2, you would get a little bit more out of kind of the development of the ancillary characters and such, as well as... Yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think 2 is the correct thing, because I think you get some of the great comedy and world building out of that.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it doesn't really reveal its true colors until 2. Episode 1 is really more just kind of the intro.
Yeah, so we'll throw that in the upper 2, but this is probably going to be one of my must watches, just because I'm a main healer. I'm a support class. I like seeing my class get its love every so often in shows.
Get some representation.
Fun. Yes.
It does also have a little bit of potential. We could see it maybe do something interesting with the concept of the horrors of war or something like that. It has hinted at that a little bit, but we'll see where it goes.
We'll see if it has the chops to do it.
Yep. All right. Next up we have Snack Basu or Basue.
Oh dear God.
Yeah.
Oh.
いらっしゃいませ。席の話なんて覚えてない。
そんな感じのポーズでさっき言ってたよ。
No, this isn't dry comedy. This is a
It is wet comedy.
Oh my dear mother of God! I am a little kid staying up too late to watch the naughty shows on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network. Dear mother of God!
Yeah.
This show is an absolute train wreck in every sense of the word, from the I better call it animation, to the art style, to
I've never seen
Everything.
such unnecessary use of 3D CGI before.
It's
disconcerting.
one of the things I first saw this. My first thought was, this reminds me of Pop Team Epic. Like, for just how absolutely bonkers out there this show can be. And most of the people
Okay.
I said most of the people I even showed this to said, my brain hurts after watching an episode of this.
Yeah. I will say that I'm pretty sure the character designs are
I'm
intentionally
too
bad.
blind to see what the titles are in the tier list other than solo leveling.
If the person who made this didn't do any of this intent, this is the most like effort I've seen into making a show look awful. Like, it's they went through and made sure to make every bad call possible.
Let me see if I can make that tier list a little bigger for you.
And I love it. I absolutely stupidly love this. This is okay. I will say most of the time I watch this, let's say inebriation is happening.
Well, that's perfectly on theme for the show.
You know, I will not put anyone who does this is trash. This is the trashiest trash. This is the king of trash. This is absolutely dumpster burning garbage. And I love the smell of that garbage.
Also, for my viewer who was just mentioning they were having a hard time seeing the tier list, we will post the tier list as an image after the show as well. And you should be able to check the VODs from those releases to have an idea of what they are from us reading out the titles too.
Yep, I tried to get as many that had good names on
I
there,
plan
but
on watching this winter season.
it's
Dr. Elise,
they made
Hokkaido
it
Gals, and solo
unusually
leveling.
difficult.
Yeah.
Also, you have a voice changer on. That's funny.
Oh, you want to know the link to Yuki is? Give me a second on that.
I would say, for me, this series is definitely somewhere in the skip or trash range. I could not bring myself to watch a second episode of it for sure.
Oh, I will not condemn anybody. This is at most, you watch a single episode of this.
Yeah, I won't say that there's no value in watching that one episode to experience the trashiness.
I updated the title on that one, so it should link to Yuki if you want it. And here's the direct link.
All right. Oh, thank you for the follow. Ito Von Falafel?
Yep. He is a regular that likes to pop up.
Appreciate it.
Good friend.
All right.
Okay.
Next up,
Let's get the Absol out of our mouth.
The weakest tamer began a journey to pick up trash.
この子のスキルはテイマー。そして星の数は星なし。
I like a based anime comrade like you and agent.
Alright. Sounds based.
もらったスキルとその星の数で将来が決まるんだ。あの子星なしなんですって。星なしは神の見捨てた子だ。どうしてそれがうちにいる？
Delicious in Dungeon is also amazing.
Agreed. We will get to that one eventually.
生まれてこなければよかった。そっか。君も一日で消える運命に生まれたんだよね。うん。君は私の初めての友達。
Nope, not actually isekai.
最後まで一緒にいよう。
Short.
Yeah, you would think that this one was isekai, but it's not.
私、あなたのおかげで生き延びた。私、 いらない子かもしれないけど、あなたとならそんなこといい。もうちょっと頑張って生きてみようかな。私の名前は
this one is a 5/10 for me because this shows some things is never have seen in Yukikaze, but is a generic.
ゴミ拾いの旅を始めました。2024年放送開始。
So, my take on this show is, it's better than it really has a right to be. It has some really nice production values. A lot of it looks very pretty, art-wise and character design-wise. And it has a pretty strong execution, all things considered. However,
well, if you think about it, 99% of Yukikaze are generic.
This feels generic
I mean,
as
look at Kanoshiba.
fuck.
Yeah, like
and show that potions can caducate.
It definitely brings in a lot of generic elements that we've seen a lot in other series. But the execution is such that so far I've been willing to stick with it, and it has been...
Kanoshiba is as generic as can be, but its execution was phenomenal.
It is probably one of the
that is of a 5 or 10,
cutest
nothing
anime
more,
that we
nothing
have
less,
this
because of good
season.
execution.
Not for lack of trying the competition on that one, but this it feels like a slow burn. It has that melancholy feel to it through and through it to me.
Definitely at least as an underlying current. Sometimes it does get kind of swept under the cute veneer. But they like to remind you periodically that things are not good for this protagonist.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's just there was nothing here to hook me.
That's, understandable. I would say you probably know what you're getting by episode 2 or 3 with this show.
Would you say that far? I've gotten to 1. I'm kind of mad. Would you say push to 2, push to 3?
I feel like episode 1 doesn't really, on its own, give you a clear understanding of where the show is going. It tends, I don't know. It's a good first episode, but it doesn't give you the direction of the show. That said, at the same time, if you watched episode 1 and you didn't like it, you're not going to get anything out of continuing the show. So you could put it under 1 episode.
I'll push this to 2 because I do think getting to the story can change it. That's once again, this kind of came up at the back end of my watchathons for a lot of these, so it might be a little bit more burned out on it. Maybe if I go back, try episode 2, it might be a little better. You're saying you liked a little bit more. This is a bit more in my wheelhouse than normal. I just might have hit a little burnout on that, but I'll say let's go with 2.
Oh, and I think
Chat is also saying 2.
Yeah, I think there was some debate as to whether this was an isekai or not. This one is technically an isekai, but it doesn't come up very often. The reason I like this generic
one is because the Kaji potions, because I like those details.
I was reincarnated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows up as like a voice that the character hears in her head that so far doesn't have much impact on anything.
It was just like a bell chime. You don't actually hear it either, if I remember correctly.
Oof. Yes, it is a bell chime. And then you get like subtitles though that explain like what she heard in her head.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with 2 episodes on that one. It's cute. It's not awful. That's okay. There's nothing offensive about that. This is on the upper side for this season, but
yeah, it's again competent. Probably even better than competent in its execution. We just have to remain to be seen if there's really any substance there, or if it's just kind of a mixing pot of elements that they grabbed from other stories and threw together.
Okay, what do we have next on the docket?
Next up, the Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
And don't have silly jokes because I hate silly isekai jokes. I feel like solo leveling should be moved to must watch. It's so hype.
Yeah, I wasn't, like, the hype around solo leveling, I feel, is stronger than what we've actually seen so far in the series, which is why we didn't put it higher.
The hype is because it's a very popular manhwa, but for a casual can be too slow.
Yeah, just as a you know, kind of a baseline understanding, we do judge the shows primarily based around what we can see so far of them in the actual anime itself up to this point in the season. So we try not to bring in too much outside influence from things like the manhwa.
Yeah, those that is put into consideration, but more as we know things can't exist in a vacuum. Not we're going to judge it on those merits, because there have been plenty of decent to good shows or manga or manhwa that get anime adaptations that absolutely do.
Yeah.
Whoa. Look at you, UK holder.
Also, because the context of this review-ish thing that we're doing is based around the current season, it wouldn't really be fair to judge it by what we think will happen in future seasons.
Yep. But going on to the one we just watched the trailer for.
Yes. So Unwanted Undead Adventurer. This one isn't the highest budget show this season.
This
but
one is a 5.5 of 10 because explain things, but not more, not less. What you think, comrade?
That's it. If the strongest tank is the boilerplate, there's nothing I can really enjoy about this fantasy, not isekai world. Undead probably fixes a lot of those complaints you had there. It's very much in that same genre, but I don't want to say more competently done, but more interestingly done.
Okay, let's be real. It's more edgelordy.
Yeah. Which I am a sucker for.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I find myself enjoying this one more than the Tank series as well.
So this tier list is kinda going from the perspective of a brand new anime watcher, watching all of the anime
this
by
is kind of going
themselves
from
up
the
to
new
this
anime
point.
watcher of this series, but yeah,
Yes,
this
that is
show
correct.
is
XVA or however you pronounce your name. Sorry, chat is being very chatty today, and thank you all for that.
We're getting people! Yay! It's catching on.
Yes.
Yep.
So again, there's nothing super groundbreaking with this one. We've kind of seen some similar series
I just wanna
before.
see what you think of the ronkums.
But we, again, I feel like this season overall has been a little bit stronger than some of the ones that we've seen the last couple seasons. So even though this one should be pretty middle of the road, it feels a little bit stronger than some what we've considered average lately.
Yep. There also is a crap ton of current overlap. While there's a lot of stuff that we see that's brand spanking new, there's not a lot out there to compete with it in the same genre this season. Like I said, I would say the biggest competition for this one is Strongest Tank. But how far have you gotten in this one?
2024 is going to be hot as hell.
I
Have you made it to
am
episode?
all the way caught up on this one as far as I know.
Okay.
Like episode 4. So yeah, I would say that this one, you probably know what you're getting into by episode 1 or 2. But
That's good.
It's more a question
wanna
of if we
say
want to call it a,
2.
yeah, it's more a question of if we want to call it trash or not. Because it is kind of trash objectively, but it's competent trash that isn't really going to be like a hate watch.
And the only problem I have with putting it in the trash category is the 2 shows I put it next to. It's like, one of these does not feel like it is like the others.
Yeah, that's understandable. Probably 1 ep is good enough for this one.
Yeah, they added a little bit more to the story episode 2, but you very much know what you're getting into by episode 1.
All right. Next up,
All right, what do we
Witch
have
and the
next?
Beast.
Who here's seen Witch Hunter Robin?
I have.
Because we have Witch Hunter Robin at home.
We have Witch Hunter Robin at Steampunk.
魔女と野獣。
やれやれ、仕事熱心だね。どうも。
あのクソ魔女、絶対一発ぶち込んでやる。
And are we sure we're not in the early 2000s right now?
It's my idea, comrade. All this season are very
Because
popular
this
trailers
is
with
Witch
not
Hunter Robin.
dialogue
This is
or very
Trinity
little
Blood. This is
dialogue.
I Want to Be the Next Full Metal Alchemist Dark.
Kinda, sorta, yeah. At the same time, I was a big fan of a lot of those shows, and this one didn't really grab me. I didn't get past episode 1 on this one.
I smell 2011.
Just wasn't doing it for me, and I'm not sure if that's because it wasn't my thing, or if there was something lacking to it that I can't quite put my finger on.
There is something lacking. I could feel it too in episode 1. Okay. I got further. I'm caught up with it. I can feel it. They did not think this. This isn't Full Metal Alchemist. This is Trinity Blood. If you have watched that one, this is the I want to be the dark, edgy, mysterious, massive world.
And it definitely had like the budget behind it, like the backgrounds and everything look great, but it just feels so like thin or hollow somehow.
It is, and that's exactly how it feels later on. They keep hinting at stuff, it's like, oh, this is going to be terrible. These people are something to watch out for. Oh, if they were involved, it was going to be real. This is a one episode.
It's an audience edger.
Okay. Save that for later. We're gonna get into that style of show in a little bit. But if you I'm in it. The older I get, the more edge I grow. But this is very much in that edgelord genre. This is that dark, dank. We're gonna see blood. You're gonna see a bunch of stories that do not have happy endings, with a bunch of people getting killed. You're gonna see the protagonist who knows probably a little too much for what he does, but is also isn't strong enough to do what he needs to. I don't even say it's dark for the sake of being dark. This is in its wheelhouse. This is a dark show. It's just it needs to do a little bit more. It's trying to let the dark do some of the heavy lifting. Do too much of the heavy lifting.
Well, I suppose that could definitely, like, yeah, it seemed to be relying so much on its world, but the world itself, although it had a very pretty paint job on it, didn't feel very well developed.
Yeah. One of the things I think where it finally kicked in for me, what was going on, why this didn't feel like a cohesive world, is right from the cover, from the trailer. Oh, witches! They have their magical beings. They have all these crazy powers. Okay, yeah, no, in a steampunk world, that could be a very big thing. Then we get to the end of episode 1, episode 2. Yeah, mages are just a thing too.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like, what? Yeah, no. Also, dark grimoires with magical power. What? Oh, but the Paladin Corps can take care of those. What? Like,
yeah.
Like, why? Like, I can understand witches are like the apex magic predator in this world, but it's like,
yeah. I guess I must have actually watched at least up through episode 2, because I did catch all the like magical artifact stuff that you were just referring to.
Yeah, that's like I said. It feels like it doesn't quite bring the world together enough. Like the world just isn't thought out deeply enough.
Or at least whatever thought they had put into it isn't making it through to the audience.
Yeah. Okay, then. I think that's pretty good on that.
Yep. Alright, next up, this is sure to be one of your big picks. Brave Bang Bravern.
戦車の操縦士スペシャルフォースのオペレーターそのどれでもないこれが俺がなりたかった北のストライドのパイロットだ
タイタン2シンガー11
アメリカ海兵隊第3海兵衛星軍ルイス・スミス少尉
ダイダラ5示談に警戒せよ
了解陸上自衛隊特殊機構部青勇3等陸尉俺たちの出会いは運命だったむせ返る血の匂い散っていく命生き残れ仲間を救うため戦え己の誇りをかけて俺たちをつなぐ愛が奇跡が本当の勇気を呼び起こす勇気爆発バーンブレイバーン2024年1月放送開始
Alright. This show, I'm gonna mostly let you take the lead on this one, but I do want to say it almost lost me by halfway through episode 1 until it became apparent that it was a parody. And so many levels of parody it seems to have. I just have complete whiplash from this show. I can't decide from my end if it's brilliant or stupid, so I'm gonna let you take the lead on it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say one thing that might help clarify this, because okay, one, I do have a small complaint. This is the only new show on Crunchyroll coming out this season that is not part of their simulcast tab. The only one. Like, I almost missed this. Yuki almost missed it. Like, this went under our radar almost completely.
Yeah, if you hadn't pointed it out to me specifically and told me I had to watch it, I definitely would have missed it.
Yeah. The second thing to point out, this is this studio's first anime.
Well, they're doing great under that consideration.
They are also a video game and publishing company, though.
Well, if you're talking about Cygames, this is definitely not Cygames' first,
Anime?
Oh, for sure not, yeah.
Never mind then.
Yeah, so Cygames, are the ones behind a number of mobile games, most well-known for Grand Blue Fantasy, and the first one, as far as I know, that Cygames was involved with for Cygames Pictures was the Grand Blue Fantasy anime, which was terrible. But since then, they've been involved in a lot of stuff. You'll actually see them in the credits if you look closely on sometimes an eighth or a quarter of the series in a given season.
Okay. That might be where the confusion, because this is their full. I believe this is the first full original production.
Nope. Again, that would be. I'm pretty sure that was actually the Grand Blue Fantasy anime. And they were also the ones who did Pretty Derby. And I think they've done a couple others too.
Okay. All right. So getting off that track, which, yeah. What is this show, by the way? This. Okay, so if you ever had the idea of like, hey guys, what if we made this crazy show with this nutty plot twist, but don't show any of the trailers, any of the promotional work, or any of the things, so when everybody watches this for the first time, they will be completely and absolutely, utterly shocked at what happens.
Yeah, it's basically impossible to say anything good about this show without spoilers.
Which I'm going to go into for episode 1 on this one, just because it's on episode 3. If the internet hasn't spoiled you on this, you're probably not a mech in the mech circles. So this is a real robot show where a real robots being closer to Gundams and real wars, where a super robo, your Mazinger Z, your the first one that comes to my brain, Grendizer. What's the 3 that combined into 1?
Well, I don't know, but I think most people would probably be familiar with like the Power Ranger Zords or Voltron. Although those don't talk, that they're not really like their own self-sentient robots necessarily.
Yeah, those are the Sentai. This is more of the Super Robo. Was it not quite Gridman? Like I said, this is closer to Gurren Lagann, I would say, on that end.
No, not even that, because Gurren Lagann, they're again not independently sentient.
That's a very rare concept in mecha anime to begin with.
Yeah,
but this is.
I would say it's more of a Sentai or Senshi sort of concept.
But yeah, no, this is a. What if real war happens and then aliens are what if every country in the world just had giant robots? They're in the middle of war games and aliens invaded. Oh no, War of the World style. We can't do anything about them. What are we going to do? Everyone's about to die. Dear God. Wait, does anyone else hear that music? Yes, and by the way, the giant super robo that the main character does pilot does in fact play his own battle theme as he flies into battle. And he is as Super Sentai as you could imagine he could be.
I want to point out, that's not just, like, canonically that he does that. They actually went through the effort of tying the 3D sound output for the show to the character's location on screen. So, like, the music gets lower the further away the character is from the camera, and like bounces back and forth between the speakers as the character moves around.
Brave on. And this show sticks its goddamn to its goddamn guns, because while the hero saves everything, does all this, and everyone's good, but the aliens are still there to fight him. Well, he now has to get out of the giant robot, discuss to his superiors what the fuck just happened, have them not believe him. And have you watched this episode 2 yet, Yuki?
Oh yeah, I'm all caught up on this one, I think.
Okay, so for anyone questioning it, what would happen if you all of a sudden are invited by a giant robot to fight off alien invaders? What would say be the first thing that would happen to you post this?
Oh, obviously waterboarding.
Yeah. It's straight to the CIA interrogation room with him. It's like, what the ever living shit. Well, the Super Robo continues to be the Super Robo with a man robot romance.
I want you inside me.
Oh dear brother. Yeah, that's not even the worst at the window of the show. Dear God. And the Super Robo continues to be this. I'm going to point out another one of these scenes. We get to a point where they're fighting off more aliens. They're calling in for reinforcements. Braven starts flying in, and the guy at the radar is like, "Wait, how does his name show up on the radar?"
Yeah, there's definitely some like quasi fourth wall breaks. Like, it's not truly breaking the fourth wall, but it's having characters in the universe be as confused about what's going on as we are as the viewers.
Like, how? Why? What? And as a mech, if you put a giant robot in your show, you're gonna get plus 2 stars out of 10 for me automatically. In this show, it has managed to parody so much from classic Super Robo shows and even some real Robo. I am all here for this. I love every episode of this. That being said, this is a 1-episode show. You know what you're going to get to watch this after episode 1. There's going to be more of it, but man, it's I wish this one isn't flying under so many people's radar because oh my god, is it special.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan of these genres, this one is going to be of real interest to you. If you're not, if you have at least a casual knowledge of these genres, it'll still be pretty entertaining. If you have not watched anything from these genres, you're probably not going to have any appreciation for the show whatsoever.
It's going to feel like nonsensical gibberish. This is definitely a show made for the mecha fan.
Alright, next up, we have Delusional Monthly Magazine.
Ah, the French show.
Also, the show voted by me most likely to put me to sleep this season.
What is this fucking trailer?
Yeah. Somehow it's doing an even worse job of selling the show than the actual show does. Okay. I think for my part, all I can really say about this show that I didn't already say is for your show to have a giant cat person in it and not appeal to me is a major failure.
Yeah, it's like I was gonna put that over on a couple people, but this on top of that, this why is this show so fucking French too, by the way? This feels like a generic French comic.
I couldn't tell you. It seems to be set overseas. It doesn't seem to be...
it's set in France. It's like
yeah.
the green ginger is Irish. You're not going to convince me otherwise.
But yeah, for sure. I don't know if this is even interesting to its target audience, to be honest.
I I think we're its target audience. It's like I
Are we? Oh no.
It's like this is a kind of
For me, this one goes straight into the skip bin.
I don't know, mystery. It's
mystery. Shonen.
Like old show. Like, you know what this is? This is Mongolian Knights, Flint the Time Detective. Whatever the fuck those old shows were called, whatever that genre was, whatever you want to call them as.
For no apparent reason.
No, not cryptid. It's
well, no. I mean, the cryptids are fundamental to the plot of the show.
Well, no, it's I know what you're talking about. It's technically not cryptid. It's okay. I only know this lore because it happens to be a weird part of Mazinger and Mega Man Star Force 2. It's a French it's the lost continent of Mu, or Mo in this one, I think it's called. French Atlantis. It used to be a more popular variant for Japanese to lean on instead of Atlantis, but has mostly fallen out of favor. And I don't know why it's here. No, it's like even some of the terms, like the Upa parts that they commonly refer to, that are the magical MacGuffins of this show, are a play on Upa parts, which are, and I'm going to get into ancient aliens tech here, but it's borrowing a lot of, once again, why is it French? Why so French? French yokai, yes, there it is. There it fucking is. Yeah, thank you. And there's potential here. This reminds me of, what was the one where the cryptids were fighting off aliens a couple seasons back? It pissed me off to no extent.
The one that you hated, yeah.
This is exactly.
I think it was just last season, actually. Yeah, I honestly, like, this one legitimately put me to sleep. I was watching episode 1 and I passed out, and I was like, "All right, well, that's my sign. I'm not even gonna bother."
This was potential, but garbage. Just unredeemable garbage.
Yeah. All right, next up, we have. This is such a weird trailer music choice.
No, I'm not going to argue. I know the show. I was kind of wondering, like, what the fuck's with the music?
So I feel like there was a lot of solid stuff in this one. You know, good animation, a decent world that they have built here, but it did not stick for me.
It's another early 2000s OVA show.
Yeah, it definitely gave me, like, strong, like, Casher and Sins, 8-Man After, like those kind of older, I almost want to say, like, pulp sci-fi anime.
Yep. Techno Armor and Gay. Yeah, it's not too wrong. The one thing I will give this is it's a Studio Bones original. There's only been a handful of those, and I can always say the same two things about them. It's got an interesting art style. They're beautifully animated, and the story needed 3 more passes.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
It's got a passable story, but the story was the third thought behind character designs and animation when they were writing the show.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
That being said, if you want to see some interesting pulp sci-fi world and some great action scenes, because the animation on this one is, once again, it's Bones doing Bones fight scenes.
It's Bones doing Bones things.
Yeah, and that's if you're just here for that, it's good. It's very good on that aspect. If you want a deep philosophical sci-fi story,
it
do a
kind of
bunch of
sets
drugs first, then watch this.
It kind of sets itself up to try to sell itself as that, but I don't really feel like there was substance there.
No, there's a deeper world, but it's not heavily thought out. It's serviceable. That being said, I do enjoy it, but this is a palate cleanser from everything else we have going on there. If there was competition in this genre right now, I would kick this to the curb.
Yeah, and conversely, like, if there weren't so many other shows going right now that I feel like I would rather focus my attention on, this might have been something I would look into more. But I don't know. It like I said, it didn't stick with me.
Yeah, this is definitely a single episode. While you do get a little bit more fleshed out later on, episode 1 gives you everything you need to know.
All right. Next up, we have Cherry Magic. 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard.
人の心が読める魔法が使えるようになり、偶然社内の男に好かれていることが分かったと。
だから妄想じゃないんだって。
こんな冴えない俺のどこに好きになる要素があるっていうんだ。
まだ残ってたの？しょうがねえ、手伝ってやるよ。今度体でお礼してもらおうかな。
到底の俺にはキャパオーバーすぎる。
だからモテないんだお前は。その猫触らせてもらってもいいっすか？
優しそうなやつでよかったな。
君さえよかったらまた来てくれるか？
来てもいいっすよ。
イエーイ！意外と気が利きますね、安藤さん。
足立だ。
ありがとうございました。足立さん、足立さんのこと好き。
これってもしかして修羅場ってやつか
？30年生きてきて恋愛経験が全くないから相手の心が分かったところでどうしていいのか全く分からない。
どうすればいいかよりお前自身が相手のことをどう思ってるか考えた方がいいんじゃないか？
好きになった。ごめん。嫌じゃなかったよ。
もう後戻りできない。でも
触れるたびに聞いた黒沢の心の声が耳から離れないんだ。
魔法で心の声が聞こえるようになってなんでこんな力って思ったけど
心に触れられた気がした。
黒沢の心に何度も触れてゆくうちに
その人が初めてってことだろ。もしそれが俺だったら。
初めて俺黒沢のこと
Alright. I will say that the title for this one is almost kind of misleading. Yes, technically there are some, like, magical powers that were granted to this person, but it's kind of ancillary to the plot. It's more of a plot device than it is anything else.
I couldn't even find a good anime cover from this. We're using the manga in this picture list.
So
that's what my opinion starts at.
I Yeah, I know you had mentioned to me that this one was a real slog for you. This is definitely not my genre of show, but especially because you mentioned you had a hard time with it, I tried to give it a little extra attention to see if, if there was anything here. It seems like it's an okay, kind of competent execution within its genre. If you like EL/light yaoi kind of material, this will probably appeal to you. I think there's also, to some degree, something to be said for the level of maturity that it's handling the subject matter with, despite the weird choice to use magic as a random plot device there. But that's all I can really say about it. This is very much not my kind of show. Usually, if I weren't doing a kind of tier list like this, I probably wouldn't even have pushed myself to watch it. It wasn't awful though. It's definitely a decent execution. But I don't know, maybe someone who's more familiar with the genre can tell us in the comments or something if this is considered a good EL show. I
think I might need to find somebody just for the fucking romances to get us through these, because like I couldn't finish episode 1. I cannot tell you how good this is in its genre. It's
I can tell you that, like, I've definitely seen worse EL stuff that appealed to me less.
There's nothing on this came off as offensive. This felt like the boilery of boilerplates in genres and types of shows I do not like.
Yeah, again, all I can really say for it is it seemed to handle things a little more maturely than we've seen in past seasons, which I think is, again, following that trend we've noticed where topics like LGBTQ and, certain types of non-monogamous relationships and things like that are starting to be looked at a little bit more seriously and with a little bit more respect as we progress from season to season here.
Okay, so we're going to say one episode for this one then?
Yeah, I don't think that this one is actually bad. I think you're going to know if this is your type of show or not in episode 1. All right. Next up.
Oh, so this also feels like a mid-tens anime too. So seriously, what the fuck is with that this season?
Sengoku Yoko.
Why are all the ones I want to know more about in the trailers the short fucking ones? Okay, I have caught up to this one. Why are we in the why are we in the early 2000s? This is early 2000s Warring States fantasy yokai show.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad either, though. Like, I think I'm one episode behind on it. It was okay. There's nothing that I really, like, overtly complain about with this, but it also wasn't super amazing.
The characters on this one felt a little bit. I haven't seen them used in a while, but I've seen them used a lot in my time. It feels like.
Yeah, it feels like we're digging into the like attic to pull out some tropes.
Yeah, which once again, haven't seen them in a while. If you are a newer anime fan, this might actually feel very fresh to you, just because we haven't seen anything like this in quite a while. At the same point, nothing stands out. The problem with a lot of the character tropes they are using is everyone's a little bit of an asshole. It's like it's one of those. None of the characters are like there's nobody you excessively latch onto. Everyone's kind of a little bit of a jerk, just because.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is this show felt like episode 1 is supposed to be the hook for it. The plot does kick in more episode 2, 3, but episode 1 is very much this is what this is. Stick around if you want to watch more of this.
Agreed. All right. Next up, Dr. Elise, the royal lady with the lamp.
周りの人たちすべてを不幸にした
I think we've
一
got
度目の人生
three
積み
more
重
for
ねた
Crunchyroll.
罪を償うため私は医者になった
Roughly
できるだけ多くの命を
3 to
救
5.
うそれが私のすべきことだと信じて私こんなところで死ぬの私またエリーゼの体に戻ったの私と皇太子様との婚約をなかったことにしていただけないでしょうか医者になりたいのです私は絶対に諦めません必ず医者になってみせます
婚約を望んでいないと誰が言った？じゃあ君は一人で処置したというのか？どのように医術を学んできた？
私はこの人生が終わるその時まで
Alright.
可能な限りの命を救いたいのです
I mentioned earlier that there was another multiple reincarnation anime this season. This was the one I was talking about. Because we find out in
Also a
episode
villainess.
1... we find out in episode 1 that she has already been reincarnated like twice. And it is indeed an isekai. I hated
a reverse isekai followed by a regular isekai.
Yeah.
Does that make it a anti-isekai or a double isekai?
Or I don't even know. What I do know is it was not good. If there's an anime this season that I would throw into the skip category, this definitely is one of them.
Yeah, this is a double villainess. The doctor aspect's kind of weird. I don't know if they're trying to be more medical with it, which who is this for then at this point?
Yeah. And it's not like we haven't seen these concepts before. Again, it's just like a poorly executed mishmash of stuff that we've seen in previous seasons.
I would have said one. I would have said one, maybe 2 episodes, but the isekai trash goblin to me is like, it's okay.
I mean, if you want to throw it in trash, you can throw it in trash. I definitely I watched episode 1 and I felt like I had wasted a portion of my life.
I would say episode 1's the worst part about the series. I got a little further. I would say 2 is a step up, but it becomes a step up because it becomes
just more generic.
Isekai. Yeah, it's
Yeah, to be fair, episode 1 is pretty much all about her life in like contemporary Japan before she gets isekai'd again. But like everything about that episode was telling me that there was nothing that was going to redeem the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this one in trash. There are some redeeming qualities in it, not a lot, just because of how isekai boilerplate this is.
After
episode 1.
Again, like we have seen worse animation from other shows in previous seasons, but this is going to also be one of the worst animated shows that you will see this season.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it in. Not the worst. Snack Boss Rule is going to have that one.
As I said, one of the worst.
Yeah, just. Yeah, I'm happy with trash. It has some basic qualities that we've come to accept in isekai and other stuff, and it's not offensively bad and dull after episode 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, episode 1 was definitely awful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue. I skipped through I think a chunk of that just because I could tell where everything. You know what episode 1 reminded me of? Reverse isekai Grey's Anatomy.
Alright.
I don't hear an argument. Okay, moving on.
I can't really argue with that. I haven't actually seen Grey's Anatomy, so I can't speak to it. Alright, next up, another villainous show that I didn't watch. Villainous level 99, I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord.
王立学園に入学した主人公が攻略対象の男子たちと絆を深めながらレベルを上げ、やがて魔王を倒すというよくあるストーリー。
新入生入場。
ごめんなさい。ユミエラ・ドルクネスレベル99。さよなら、私の平穏な日々。ラスボスを超えるポテンシャルを持ち、主人公パーティーの誰より強く、敵キャラしか使えなかった闇属性の魔法が使える。それって最高では。
君は知らないかもしれないが、魔物を倒さねばレベルは上がらないんだよ。
来る日も来る日も来る日も倒してるんだよな。遅い。ブラックホール。ゲーマーの血が燃えてきた。ユミエラさん、あなたが魔王なんですか？
Think of the shows of this genre, this is the one I would be most likely to give a shot this season. But that's all I can really say for it.
The one thing I will say this says it's a villainous show. This comes off as a villainous show. This is an isekai. This is, hey, what if the protagonist of this isekai was a woman?
Yeah, and I can respect that element of it enough that I might give it a try eventually here, but haven't watched any of it thus far.
That being said, this is trash. This is isekai boilerplate trash. I'm all here for that. Out of the trash we have, this is my solid number 2 pick of the season. Basra is going to be number 1. I'm not going to even argue if it's like that is the trashiest trash. But this is if you like isekai, if you like the leveling aspect, if you like that generic feel with some good humor, some decent animation, some fun gags, this is a good one.
Right, next up. The Kaido gals are super adorable.
Yep, we have...
すごい開放感だな。誰もいないし、車も走ってなくて静かだ。
やっぱ東京とは全然違うよな。ギャルだ。北海道のギャルだ。
東京ダサいとか思ってるっしょ。
なんて攻撃力してるんだ。
四季はさ、冬木と付き合ってんの？
それじゃあ私はドローンします。お弁当一緒に食べよう。
綺麗だ。
ちょっとやめれよ、そういうの。したっけ、学校でね。
Alright, have you watched any of this one, Agent?
I've caught in the first 2 episodes on this one. This one, okay, I've got a soft spot for rosy cheek girls and winter clothes. Don't ask me why.
It definitely
It is a
has
thing.
that. This is exactly what it appears to be on the surface, so if you're in for some surprisingly scantily clad girls for the weather that they are present in, this is the anime for you.
I work in a northern. Let me put it this way: I have to drive south to get to Canada from where I live. Get interesting on that one. I am in a cold area. I will see women dressed as scantily clad as anyone in this show in 10, 20 degree weather Fahrenheit. For all of you imperialists out there, not imperialists. So that does not bug me. Other than that, this is a romance whose twist is it's really cold outside, and all the girls are wearing winter clothing.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's not a ton to be said about this. If you want to maybe learn a tiny bit here and there through osmosis about Hokkaido, you might get a tiny bit of that in this show. But this is really just all about seeing cute girls in cute winter clothes. Or sometimes not so winter clothes, even though it's snowing.
I'm not gonna lie, we just got back to 30 degrees where I live. I broke out the shorts today.
Yeah, I've definitely, known people that lived in Alaska, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I went out in, like, shorts and a t-shirt today. I'm like, wasn't it negative 10? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, and you wonder why you're sick.
Alright, but one episode is a very good call for this one. You know what you're getting on the cover here.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's also kind of borderline trash, but it's not really bad enough to be put in the trash category. It is what it is.
It's a fluffy romance.
I would say that the romance aspect is even secondary, because it's really more of a harem. We haven't gotten far enough in it to really be thoroughly introduced to the other characters.
Asking if it's more cute or horny? It is horny.
Not hardcore horny, though. Softcore horny.
Yeah. Normally I wouldn't say that, but we've still got a few shows to go here.
Yeah. Alright. Next up. The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil.
輝く髪に目を奪われた。どこか退屈そうなルビーの瞳、桜色の唇。その瞬間、俺は思ったんだ。
我を誘惑するとは、アホな悪魔もおったものよな。清く正しく健やかに合成させてやろ
う。もう未来が見えない。
Alright. Yeah, so this series, I think, on the surface, it very much looks like it is going to be a sort of Kaguya-sama meets, like, supernatural elements and BDSM. Question mark? With part
in
of a
comparison, not really, but
Yeah. One of only several shows this season featuring BDSM themes. But if you give this show an episode or two to get going, I think you'll quickly find that it's really more about the like romance as a weapon kind of aspect, which I can't say how it compares to Kaguya-sama because I haven't actually watched that one yet. But from what I understand, it's a very similar interplay between the characters.
I wouldn't say blood-led. More the devil is a part-timer in this one than anything.
Yeah,
Chat.
yeah, it's definitely a lighter, more comedic fantasy or whatever you want to call that element to it.
It's a interesting romance.
Yeah, the fact that they're a devil and an angel is almost more of a MacGuffin than anything else.
Though, so would you say 2 episodes on this one? I made it to episode 1 and then kind of.
It definitely does have a different feel to it in episode 2. Episode 1 is more kind of introducing the premise, whereas episode 2 and 3 really get more into the kind of actual interplay that you can expect going forward in the series. So I don't think episode 1 is very representative of the series itself. It's more of just the setup.
All right. So we'll fill that into 2 then.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
2 should be fine, I think.
Okay. And I'm going to start with the warnings here at this point.
Yeah.
This is going to be the last of our Crunchyroll shows coming up. But from here on out, yeah, things are gonna get horny.
At least for the next couple of shows. The last one that we're gonna touch on, not so much. But yeah, we've got
It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get strange. If you feel uncomfortable,
we do have one more Crunchyroll show still. Believe it or not.
Yeah, but yeah, the name for that one isn't helping the cause here.
Oh, I know. But technically, it is a Crunchyroll show.
Final content warning for anyone. If you feel uncomfortable, honestly, just if anime has made you uncomfortable in your lifetime, be warned from here on out.
Yeah, we're getting into the point where we're going to be using this not hentai category a lot. If any type of sexual or mature content of that variety is in any way offensive to you, this is your time to head out. Alright. Now that said, we'll be kind of starting off with the lightest of these in a sense, because this is the last remaining Crunchyroll show. And for some reason, High Dive this season is super horny.
Would you like to name this one?
Oh yes, this is called 'Tis Time for Torture, Princess.
私は沈黙を貫く。無駄だ。王国の秘密をやすやすと話すことは決してない。姫様にはこれから毎日拷問を行います。水曜日は塾がある。こんな深夜にラーメンだと？テレビゲーム？話します。姫様。拷問の時間です。2024年1月放送開始。
Oh, dear God.
So this series basically answers the question, what if Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle with more of a BDSM skin.
Which, okay, the fuck, starting with this, the name, just right off the bat on that one. Weirdly enough, okay, talk a little bit, because if I open with this, I'm going to sound extra creepy.
Okay. What I would say about this series is, especially relative to some of the other ones we're about to talk about, the kind of like torture-y BDSM sort of elements in this are very minor and downplayed. Although they're technically central to the plot, the types of torture that are being thrown out there are literally a punchline for the show. This is really more of like a comedy and healing anime, with like a slight dash of horny.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is this, weirdly enough, takes the proper approach to torture, which is, hey, what if I kind of give you some of the stuff you want?
Yeah, like that's a fair point, right? Because like when you're really trying to break somebody, you are more likely to get what you need out of them if you can identify, you know, what it is that they want and establish a rapport with them. Which is, you know, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it's like kind of the base level field manual stuff by my understanding.
Come on, you up your torture game.
I know, right? But yeah, so like these are probably actually things that would be surprisingly effective tortures, especially if they were combined with, you know, some more standard like sleep deprivation and hunger kind of things. But what you'll find in this series is that the captive is treated very, very well, and they're basically just like tempted into giving out secrets.
Oh, what's that? You don't want to tell me when the change of the guards when you're most vulnerable? Well, I guess I'm going to have to eat this giant chocolate cheesecake all by myself.
Right in front of you, one bite at a time. I might even have to throw some of it away.
Oh, don't forget the extra creamy whipped cream.
Yeah, so this one, honestly, it's pretty lighthearted. It's cutesy, it's kind of healing anime vibes, weirdly enough.
But as for watch on this one, this is a one episode. Like, once you've hit episode 1, you know, God, we've actually doubled down on the tier list episode 1s this season.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting. You will have fun and enjoy this right away at episode 1, or you will bounce off this.
Pretty
it
much.
Does come with our recommendation from both of us, though.
Yeah, if you're looking for something cute, if you're looking for something that's a good time, as long as you can handle some mild, quote-unquote, torture elements, then this'll be a fun ride for you.
Yep. Oh, also, you're asking if the show's coming up can't be as bad as Mysterious Girlfriend X?
They sure can. Mysterious Girlfriend X is actually pretty tame compared to some of what we're about to go into here, so prepare yourselves. Alright. On that note, next up, we have my instant death ability is overpowered. Now this one we're kind of taking a step back. This is not one of the horny shows.
Yeah, it's got plenty of horny in it.
Well, yeah, but not to the degree that we're talking about. Oh, one last note on the previous show. It kind of falls a little bit into what you would call the food porn category.
そうそう、とりあえず殺すよね。 ってなんでやねん。
おお、即死か。
心配するほどのことでもないでしょう。賢者様のギフトを持ってないとて弱のお二人には何をすることもできないにゃ。
俺が死ねって言って死んだんだから因果関係ぐらいさしてくれよ。
なぜ僕が引かなければいけないんだ。それはドミネーターの取るべき行動ではないだろう。
やはり高藤よぎりには手を出すべきではなかったのです。
する。登るには莫大なエネルギーが必要になる。
覚悟しておいてほしい。今後出会った敵らしき奴らは問答無用で殺していく。
今更だよ。覚悟ならできてる。
Alright,
じゃ
so
ああんたはこれから高藤よぎりってことでよろしくね。
this series really takes the like god moding thing that we see in a lot of isekai to the absolute extreme. And it is 100% a lesson in what not to do with character creation. In fact, this is exactly the kind of thing that is warned about in like the player's handbook and the DMG, I can't remember which, like pretty early on if you're a D&D player.
Yeah, this is the one, like one of the great points I will give this show is maybe it's even a deterrent. I'm thinking more about it. This is every fucking isekai plot ever.
Yeah, it's almost a parody of itself. Like, I find myself continuing to watch it, and that's despite the fact that I feel consistently disappointed.
This is like, I can't tell you exactly why, but this is trash.
Yes.
This is the culmination of everybody's leftovers dumped into a garbage can and then lit on fire.
It's not particularly hot trash, though.
No, these are wet leftovers, but everything's just kind of sitting there smoldering, and it smells kind of good. You're not quite sure what the fuck's in there, but every now and then something else pops, and it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's not too bad.
You're pretty sure whatever you're inhaling is likely poisonous, but all right. I think that's all that really needs to be said about that one for the moment.
Yeah, if you're a trash connoisseur, you will probably enjoy it or continue to watch it for some reason, but
alright, moving along, we have what's probably the horniest show this season, gushing over magical girls. And I want to be very clear, this is going to be the tamest version of this show that you're going to see in this trailer.
Did you have to go through a couple of these to find one that was airable?
No, fortunately, they do a pretty good job of keeping it technically safe for work, at least, in the trailers, but, yeah, that's only because of YouTube's rules, probably.
このレオパルトが叩き直してやんよ。彼女の名前はモリノポリス。さあ、今日も張り切って世界征服に勤しもうか。トランスマジア。やったってなんで喜んでるんだろう。私大好きな魔法少女も苦しめているのに。おかしいな。
Oh no, it's awakening something in me.
Okay, first off, the content warnings for this show.
Let me put it into a simple way. I decided to do this show as a watch party by happenstance. Somebody made the joke of, "Oh, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going,"
and they were absolutely correct.
And it proceeded to go there again and again. And the dear mother of God, the it's awakening. This is awakening something inside of me is a fucking plot point.
It
Holy
literally is.
Mother of.
So,
whoa.
Yes, to be very clear, this does air uncensored. And, you know, if you have any hangups whatsoever about watching a show that involves any kind of BDSM elements or anything that has nudity and sexual content involving characters that are definitely underage, because I think all of these characters are middle schoolers.
I don't want to know.
Head for the hills.
This is you know, a little piece of me was going to joke, "Oh, this is going to be the," it's like, no, this is hentai. This is not hentai. This is as close to hentai as you.
This is only not hentai by the barest of technicalities.
This is as close as Interspecies Reviewer got. If
pretty
not
much
closer?
Question mark?
Yeah, it's this is. Whew.
Now, on the other
my
hand,
God.
if you're a fan of magical girls and want to see the magical girls be in various states of undress and have all kinds of naughty things done to them, this will very much be the show for you.
I will say there has been one particular joke that did just I did laugh my fucking ass off at. The oh, I'm going to summon X monster to tear off all your clothes. Ha! I knew you were going to do that. That's why I wore pasties.
Yep. Which is kind of ironic, since the main character is, like, their default outfit is pasties.
Yeah, it was oh my God. There's a reason I had to throw this category, the not hentai category, up for this season.
Yeah, and this show is the epitome of that. There's really no sense of even going into the plot or anything. If you haven't been scared away by the content warning and you watch episode 1, you're going to know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
Yep, just for the love of God, don't do this in public. Wear headphones. And don't do what I did and decide to throw a Discord watch party for it. I was very lucky. Everyone was chill.
Indeed. Alright. Shall we move on to the next?
Slightly less horny show?
Only marginally. Next up, we have Chain Soldier.
Hold on one more second.
Okay.
I did have one thing to say about this. I brought up the with Snack Baswa, how it felt like a Pop Team Epic from those creators.
Mm-hmm.
Gushing Over Magical Girls actually is from those creators. In episode 1, you can see the main characters from Pop Team Epic in the show.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
They pop up in class. It's a blink and you'll miss it, but it was one of those. I was trying to put my jaw back on, trying to focus on anything, and those popped up in the background. Very background characters, but as much as those two were.
Hmm.
But yes, moving on now.
Okay. So once again, Chain Soldier.
魔法隊7番組組長羽前京香だ。お前を私の奴隷にする。
I swear when I saw this, it looked like the girl from Recreators.
It gave me very strong, like, I keep wanting to say those who hunt elves, but that's not right. Sorcerer Hunters vibes.
これは私が、これは俺が、総組長はヒーローを目指す物語だ。
Again, what we're seeing here is the tame version of this show. And this again is definitely uncensored. This time we're dealing with probably, I think, high school-ish age characters.
No, they're graduates, so they will say that. They all seem to be at least over 18.
My understanding is that they were absorbed into the squads in lieu of attending school, but I could be wrong about that.
I know the main character was he was starting his job as an office.
Okay. Well, that could make it worse for some people.
Well, I believe the main three girls, with the exception of the one who says she's 11,
yeah,
who luckily has not been looted in the show, are all above board on that one.
All right. Yes. So, okay. Well, if that's the case, maybe this will be a little bit less off-putting for certain audience members. This show...
On the other hand, if your fetishes run a little strange, you might enjoy this even more.
Yeah. So I will spoil a kind of very early basic plot point, which is the main character, in reward for his services as a slave to the female protagonist, must be given rewards by her that are dictated by his subconscious, and she has no control over it. So even though he's technically, the one who's acting as the slave in these scenarios, after every time that she makes him fight for her, she is forced to do all kinds of lewd things that are intended to satisfy his deepest desires.
And this does get as fetishy as you think it does.
Oh, yes. Both this series and the previous one, pretty much any kink goes. But this one, I would say it's,
Gets to add a little more size kinks to it, too.
Well, yeah, technically there is that one character.
But, you're not very far in this series, are you?
Well, I think I'm all the way caught up. But, what was I just going to say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. I'll let you talk for a second.
I was going to say, it's like there are different girls in the show who all have different powers. They tend to get a little lewd with those powers beyond the main characters on that one, too. This does turn into a pseudo harem at some point,
like a harem if everyone was the dom to one sub.
You're not wrong. But is it weird I would call this tasteful Ichi? Or because
I mean, I guess in a certain sense it has a certain degree of class to it, in its presentation, at least. But, yeah,
you can't defend it too much. This is This is going in the hentai category.
Yeah, and it is at its very core intended to be hot trash. It just happens to be hot trash that's especially lewd and uncensored.
Yep.
So
With a
go ahead.
no, you go finish up.
No, I didn't even have a thought.
Yeah, that's about where I am. It's there is a decent story. There is some decent plots, actual plot in this show. This is a lewd engine for a lot of its at its bones. This is a lewd anime. It just has some good meat. It rises to the occasion.
I would say the only thing that's really kind of overtly bad about this show is the 3D CG on the enemies. But aside from that, like, even if it didn't have the nudity and the BDSM aspects to kind of appeal to those audiences, I think it has enough meat that it would still be a reasonably watchable show. Which is
the only
rare.
Other thing I can say is the downside is the character designs are that pseudo military that Japan likes.
Yeah, it definitely is appealing to that specific kind of like military kink, including up to the like obsession with the boots and things like that. So
I never connected those until just now.
Yeah, that literally is just one of the many kinks that the show is selling.
And probably many more to come.
Yep. All right. I think that's probably enough said about that one. If what we said sounds appealing, you're probably going to like it. You'll definitely know what you're getting into by the end of the first episode. And if you don't like that, then get out. Like, run. Because it's only going to be more of that. Alright. Last on our list today, have Delicious in Dungeon.
The only this is the first Netflix anime I've been able to watch that is also a simulcast too. In the States.
ドラゴンの腹の中で魔法が効かなかった。
私たち空腹が原因で失敗したようなものだし。
I believe... No, that's right. They released half a season at a time for Uncle from Another World.
もし竜に食われたのが俺だったなら。よし。行くぞ。
つまり魔物を食べるってこと？
こうなったら是が非でも味が知りたい。
俺は絶対食わないからな。
完成じゃ。
それうまいか？
美味しい。
バカにして悪かったな。
気にするな。ただ通りすがっただけだ。
わからん。もうやっちゃう。
俺たちは一度空腹でレッドドラゴンに負けたんだ。同じ鉄は踏まない。だろ？
Delicious in Dungeon, I think, for me, is easily the strongest showing so far this season. As far as I'm concerned, it goes directly in the must-watch category. I think even non-fantasy fans will find some interest here. But definitely it's going to be most appealing to folks who are into the high fantasy or food porn genres.
Yep. One thing I can definitely say, if you are a D&D fan, you've had these conversations at the table that this show goes over. It's like, can I eat this? How does this taste? Oh, I have rock salt. This is very much on there. The very bones of this story are baked into the fantasy.
Oh, absolutely, on multiple levels. And it does, even outside the food element, it does a great job of being a strong, original fantasy setting anime. The animation is beautiful. Really, I have no complaints about this show, aside from the fact that it's on Netflix, but...
Yep. One thing I will say about the production side of this is a collab with Studio Trigger. And I think they were doing a lot of the heavy lifting on some of the more actiony bits of the animation. Which,
yeah, that definitely would shine through here. I mean, all of the animation is really smooth. You've got some good Sakuga in the fight scenes. Everything looks good. You'll rarely see like just a static shot of lips flapping or anything like that. Like these are like anime movie quality production values in this show.
Which is the little bit of the sad part about how much Netflix has been knocking it out of the fucking park with those lately. But
Netflix, it's really hit or miss with them. They either do something absolutely amazing like Violet Evergarden, or they throw out just like the most ignorable garbage.
Yeah, you are quite right on that one. But no, that's definitely probably the biggest must watch just off its show. Like this, oh, your chat, you're saying you're not a fantasy fan that automatically hooked you. Yeah, this is just well done from beginning to end. It's a bit RPG with how the labyrinths and dungeons work.
But you're not going to see a stat system anywhere in sight, first of all.
Yeah. Oh, hey, welcome first time chat. We're doing good here. We're actually just finishing up our
Thank you for the follow, Funky Skunk 123.
Yep. I don't know if I would call it yeah, let's go. It's still tier list. It's a tier list, but not so much what was good, what was bad, but where most things should. Well, there was some bad. There was definitely some bad, and there was some fucking horny.
Yeah, it's more aimed at like the ones to watch. Typically, towards the end of the season, we'll do more of a standard tier list where we're kind of ranking based on how good the shows are. Once they've had a chance to show us the entire season.
Yeah, but so far, I will say, besides the fact that this season is definitely from the early 2000s, overtly BDSM horny, it's actually a fairly well step up from normal.
Yeah, as I said a couple of times, the overall production values and everything. Hey,
do you like skunks?
Skunks? They can definitely be cute sometimes. I can't say I'm a fan of skunk smell, but you know, the skunks themselves are not so bad. They eat critters that we don't want running around.
Yep.
Was I just saying? Oh, yeah, overall, the quality level is just a little bit higher than we've seen in previous seasons, maybe half a step or so up. And it's gotten back more towards the usual level that we would expect. Production values have kind of stabilized a bit. We're not seeing the kind of, like, really, really offensively bad animation that we've seen in so many shows lately. And it's hard to tell how much of that is that there's been a little bit less produced this season, and how much of it is some of the folks who were maybe struggling with it being their first time working on a series or something, getting their feet under them in the subsequent seasons.
Yeah. But overall, I think that's a good wrap up. We will definitely be back, or we will definitely try to be back for the end of season roundup from which ones we loved, which ones definitely stood out, and which ones just fell the freak off.
Yep. Meanwhile, thank you everybody for joining us, and I hope you had a good time. Maybe got a little bit of insight out of what we talked about here. I'm sure we'll be making a copy of this tier list available on our Twitters, as well as, posting the VODs and everything for anyone who wants to look back and review anything that we talked about. If you missed anything while we were having this 3-hour-long discussion.
Honestly, I kind of time these out to be about 3 hours most of the time. Hopefully you're not missing too much dinner.
No, I made sure to eat right before we started this time.
Yep, I tried to get you a little more on that one. Would you like to pick the raid target today? I don't have that many people on at the moment.
Let me see who we've got. Wrong window.
So many windows.
I have no idea.
I probably have a pretty good idea. I think we're close to similar levels at this point.
Obviously, we'll raid you, Agent. Why don't we go ahead and read Swimming Link?
All right, can you send me the link?
Before? Yeah. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us, and I hope to see you all again next time. Continue.
Yep. Give me a second. I still gotta take a second or two to get let the raid up. But later, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye. That's all for this episode. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, or join me on Twitch or Twitter. Hope to see you next time on Yukikaze Gaming. Matane!